So if April was a difficult month, then May was a fantastic month. We really had a brilliant month. Confirmation rates are extremely high. We got some brilliant prices, some phenomenal sales, and the month was particularly good. And I suppose there are a couple of reasons for it. I mean, the first reason is that sellers are starting to align price with expectations. People are looking for value, and I've been saying it all year, and this year was testimony to the fact that we're in a year of trophy or trauma. In other words, great properties attract great prices and difficult properties attract very poor prices. And this was the month. May is the month of the great property. And so we had many across the country. And ironically, over 60% of our sales, in fact, were of office blocks. And this has been a sector of the market that we have been a little bit concerned about. But again, great office blocks, great prices. Great tenants, great prices. Great locations, great prices, and we saw great prices across the board. We took one particular portfolio to the market, and in many ways we in fact got 50 to 60% well ahead of reserve prices. Because buyers flooded our auctions right across the country, from Port Elizabeth to East London to Johannesburg to Cape Town and Durban. We really had, our auctions had a huge attendance. So our first big auction started off in Durban. And the Durban market has been a tough market for us. We had a quieter year in Durban. Durban has traditionally been a very buoyant market, but it's quite skittish in terms of market pricing. So we find that Durban, probably more similarly to Cape Town, the market's conservative. When times get tough, people don't want to sell. But yet our auctions were flooded. We had a huge number of properties going on the market. I think probably the biggest one was the property on the corner of Smith and West Street, which was sold for 18.93 million rand, including commission, which is a nice transaction. We then rolled on to our next auction, which was the one in Cape Town. And every single player in Cape Town was there. The room was too small, although it was a normal size. People packed in. We had all the well-known property players in Cape Town. They were vying for buildings, and the two exciting buildings of the day really attracted intense bidding at high levels, well above reserve prices. We had 4 or 5 people bidding for them. The first building was quite a well-known building in Sea Point, the Absa building in Sea Point with a little block of flats on top, and that went for 22 million rand, which is a good sale, with intense competition. The next one was, in fact, it was the Absa building, which is right on the side of the Old Cape Sun, of the Southern Sun, and there we had, in fact, Southern Sun came and they were bidding against a bidder from Johannesburg who wanted to put a training academy in the building, and that building went at a price of 22.5 million rand. Those were some of the interesting transactions of the day. Another big sale we had here in Cape Town in Blackheath. We sold a building for 39.3 million rand, which was an excellent price for that particular property. So the Western Cape really had a good sale, and the spirit was good, and the feeling was good, and the Alliance people really seeing that the transactions happened. And a little small transaction, not a big number, but really is indicative of where we're going to. Was a little post office in Langa, in one of the in one of the sort of traditional township areas of the Western Cape, which was sold at 3 million rand. We had one of the community bodies came and bought the property back. And then the next sale we rolled onto was in Port Elizabeth. Port Elizabeth, the sale was capably handled by Mike Bosch, who always has a huge success rate, but this time it was 100% success rate. Every single property he took to the market, we sold. The big one of the day was the building was a building in Government Becky. Again, office block, retail downstairs, 24.2 million rand. It was on the front page of the EP Herald, on the business section, and there we sold that particular property. And then, of course, the one we all wait for was the Johannesburg sale. And, of course, Johannesburg is always an indicator of what goes into the market, because Johannesburg's bigger, because the Gauteng markets are larger. And the sale, the room was infused with excitement and enthusiasm. There was a huge number of people watching in the room and out the room, as many of our fans know. Auction Alliance has the capability to watch the auctions from auction.co.za. And some of the big sales of the day were, firstly, the property which was sold in Joburg Park, 14.3 million rand. Kempton Park, 13.2 million rand. A building in Hillbrow, 11.44 million rand. Clarksburg, 9.6 million rand. And another 2 auctions which sold off auction were a Randburg building at 50.4 million rand, and then of course a building, an office block in Rosebank at 33 million rand. So all in all, May was a great month, certainly for the commercial property market. Residential, we had a lot of transactions at the smaller level. We're finding the luxury market a little tougher. No significant transactions in the residential space. Agriculture, good. We sold a magnificent game farm for Dr. Bill Venter for close to 11 million rand. There was another transaction at 10 million rand. So the agri markets are looking good as well, and capital assets didn't have any significant sales this month, but we're certainly looking towards June. So there we have it. That's the roundup for May, an exciting month. I think June ends our financial year, and please God, may June be as good as May was.